be the last one standing. Two hands in the air, I'm a champion. You'll be looking up at me when it's over.
Hey guys, where's Pixie now? I am delighted to be in my kitchen again after over a month away. And so thank you for tuning in to episode 18 of Spiritually Speaking with Pixie Paula. Again, I am so grateful to actually have this moment to sit down and chat with you all, and more delighted to bring on my good friend and partner, Clay Braswell, who is my partner in Commit Good. And today, there's no real agenda here, Clay, but I want to talk about everything Commit Good,
Okay.
everything that we want to mention about the introduction of blockchain, NFTs, or anything more to the audience, because I haven't really had the chance to talk to anybody extensively. I've been dabbling and dropping the little buzzwords, but not really in a longer conversation. So you are my first deep conversation about NFTs. I'm so excited about that.
Woohoo! All right, cool.
Okay, well, thanks for joining. And you are back. Where were you?
I was in Guadalajara,
Oh, whoa,
and
one of my
before
favorite
that, I
places.
was in Metairie. I also went to the city of Tequila, Mexico.
Oh,
Very cool, very cool.
I'm very jealous. I was supposed to go a couple of weeks ago, but my mom was sick, so everything changed, and we're trying to get back on track. That's why I said I'm delighted to be back in Charleston.
I
So
know.
we've got her at one of the rehabs here in Shem Creek, and so excited for her continued recovery.
Well, hopefully she's doing well. But I have definitely been living the digital nomad international lifestyle for 3 months, I think, maybe longer.
Yes. All right. So what did you do?
Uh, when traveling, uh,
Yes.
I mean, you name it. We went to Chichen Itza, which is a really cool pyramid outside of Merida, built by the Mayans. Went to a tequila distillery in Tequila. Um, I don't know. It's kind of all a blur. I would wake up and do Zoom meetings in hotel rooms, and then head out on some adventure, and then come back and do it all over again. So it's been a lot of fun, but still trying to get used to the travel and the work and making it all work together without feeling too chaotic. It's a little bit of an
Yes.
adjustment,
It,
but
it
hopefully
sure
that's
is.
the future, traveling the world, helping people.
Absolutely. All
Um,
right, so that's the perfect it. We're moving into a digital world with everything on the blockchain. We can conduct our business from wherever we are,
right.
right? So it's much easier to adapt to a nomadic lifestyle. And all right, so let's talk about that a little bit. Let's
Okay.
talk about Commit Good and just jump right into it. I'm so delighted to be part of this team, and having this be a brainchild of yours for a while. Why don't you just tell us about your passion, your vision, and how it all came to be?
Well, I mean, I have been building software platforms for 20 years or more, and really a core focus in the charity nonprofit space for around 15. So, if you can imagine the charity or what I've built platforms and applications for just about any sector within that world. But my passion's always been helping people. Around 2005, my mom passed away suddenly with cancer. And when things like that happen to you, you kind of you recalibrate. And I was like,
Yes.
what's life
Yes.
about? What am I really doing? And I mean, I knew how to build software platforms. I've always been an entrepreneur. And I was like, I'm just going to really focus on helping people and really using technology to make the world a better place.
Mhm.
The tech world is kind of the leading edge, and the nonprofit world has kind of been lagging. So I was like, all right, let's jump in and bring tech to the nonprofit world. And there's been some challenges, but it's really been great. You see the ugly side of the world. I mean, if you can imagine any terrible story, when you're on the tech side, you see all the data coming in and you see everything. You're like, wow, this is real life. And so it's really makes you want to to do more and make the world a better place. But there's only so much we can do as individuals. But if we really use tech, there's a lot that we can do to work together as a group without having to feel like you're taking on the whole world, because you do get burned out. I mean,
Oh, sure.
you feel like there's more, there's a hole in the bucket. You pour some water
Yeah.
in and it goes right through.
For sure. Well, that's really interesting thinking about that, the technical application, because you can't do it alone, right? We always say it takes a village, but how
Right.
you can use and leverage tech application to do even more. We did have the inaugural event of the Skirt conference this weekend, and
I
so
saw
I
that.
got to do my cause marketing presentation again, and of course I
Great.
finish it up with Commit Good, because I go through the ages of, let's start all the way back to Calvin Coolidge, who was our 30th president, who said, we have to administer a spiritual side to trade. So it's once we got past the Industrial Revolution and we knew that the world was going to change, it did become about cause marketing for some of us. But the accountability, or the responsible part, is to use whatever that marketing can be to help facilitate philanthropy initiatives with all communities, and everybody wins, right?
Right.
So then we talked about the very first evidence of commerce coming together with a large corporation was in 1976, with the Marriott Corporation and the March of Dimes opening up the theme park in Santa Clara. And that to date is still the largest record opening of a theme park of all time. It had the equivalent of what today would be the opening day of Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wow.
And then we move forward into the restoration of the Statue of Liberty, with American Express actually being the first to coin the cause marketing phrase, where they gave 1 penny for every swipe of the American Express card for that particular campaign. And, it was so successful, and they increased their American Express applications, they increased their car usage, and they increased visibility for all small businesses, and the world got a new Lady Liberty. So these things, when working together using tech to advance philanthropic initiatives, are second to
Right.
none. And so now, how do we use Commit Good to carry on that legacy in, the blockchain and Web 3.0?
Well, again, my previous experience, I've built a lot of the donor applications, and hey, we're going to manage our donor base. And it was a lot of kind of the same old, right? And don't get me wrong, all the companies that are doing that are great, and I'm not downplaying that, but it's kind of like been there, done that. And
Yeah.
so when crypto and blockchain came along, I was like, wow, okay, we can really think big. And that's a lot of what's behind this term Web3, right? It's kind of
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
society's upgrading. And so I was like, okay, what's a big idea? My idea, which I'm living and building out and we're working together on, is really a charitable economy. And so it's kind of like what you mentioned there with American Express, 1 penny going forward. How could we make it where every purchase you make goes to a project, and not just donating to a charity, which that's great, but really what people want to see now is impact, right?
Yes.
If there
Yes.
is if I'm building a water well in Africa, or we built a home in Botswana, or any of those things, people want to see a tangible result of what they gave. And
Yes.
also, there's a lot of, and I don't want to use the term begging, but in the nonprofit world, there's a lot of
Hmm.
guilt, like,
Hmm. Hmm.
please help
Sure.
us. We got to help. That's part of it. But I was like, there's got to be more to this. We've got to evolve into a different kind
Yes.
of giving. And that was a great thing about Web3 with crypto. Crypto kind of gets its negative thing, which anything new and strange, people are going to be afraid of. And blockchains on the other side, which is allowing you to see all the transactions that are going through. And it was kind of like the perfect combination. And I was like, wow, we really can build a charitable economy where everything is revolving around the charitable project itself. And within that dynamic, everyone's a winner. So I'm not asking the same business over and over to give me
Yeah.
money every year. There's something for everybody, in it. So that was kind of the big idea. Now, how do you make that work? And then how do you code it? And so
Right.
that kind of led the journey into to where we are now.
And there's so much burnout for the volunteers for the charitable organizations. And I
Oh,
love that you said that we need to learn to evolve, because without leveraging the ongoing fundraising mechanisms into something bigger, you're forever
right,
spinning your wheels and we really don't get anywhere.
right.
And we're conditioned, like you said, out of guilt, to pay a super premium for an inferior product, all in the name of charity, to be able to give back to an organization, because we are people first and we really do care. And those of
Right.
us that are present to our blessings, we still want to create an abundant economy, right? So we are giving back and we do get roped into it. But gosh, yeah, if the dollar could go so much farther, or the coin or the
Right.
token could go so much farther, and it was measurable and impactful, then we would just alleviate and boost and get more momentum behind our efforts. And I
Well,
think
eh,
using the Commit Good NFT project and our platform
you
is the
know,
way to do it.
a lot of this is just changing your mindset, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you know, what we've always done, people think is what we're always going to do, which is not true because new things come along all the time, and now we're all on mobile phones and things that were completely different. I mean, you know, again, with traveling, um, but you know, it's interesting. I've been traveling so
Yeah.
much. People, when I first was traveling, people were like, "Oh, you're on vacation." I'm like, "Well, no, I'm working." And now people are like, well, where are you and what's going on? What's going on with the company? And again, it's the mindset of being, hey, I can be anywhere in the world. I've got my phone or I've got my laptop. As long as I can plug in, I'm working. And that mindset has just changed over the last, you know, decade or even
Okay. Yeah.
less than that. You don't have to be, you know, and that's another thing with, I mean, we're zooming right now
Right.
doing
Right.
this podcast, the idea of I have to go into an office, I have to be here, I have to be working there to be working is really kind of moved on. I mean, COVID really shifted a lot of that,
For
but
sure.
I mean, we're all in this hybrid world now of you know what people call IRL, you know, in
Yes.
real life. So you're either meeting in real life or you're meeting virtually, but you know whether you're in face or not, you're still getting work accomplished and moving things forward. Not, hey, I can't even imagine going on. I don't even know what going on vacation is. You kind
I
of
get
make
it.
if you really are have a core and a passion, you're always
You're,
working. And it's
hmm
not that you burn yourself out too much. It's just you care so much about it. You're checking in, responding to email, or setting this or that up, and you're still moving the ball forward instead of just
Yes.
dropping it, going, I'll get to that in a week when I get back or 10 days.
Yes.
That's not
You're
the
right,
way
though. We
that's
blew
not the way
up
we
and the
work anymore.
pandemic blew up the 9 to 5, right? We don't think about that. And then so many people lost their ability to generate their livelihood that they were forced to rethink their box.
Right.
And now I think it's almost like the new consumer, especially with NFTs and everything that's happening with the blockchain world, we are conditioned to what's next? How are these applications going to be repurposed and used to improve our daily life? And
Well,
I think with the, I'm going to bring it back to Commit Good. So
right,
let's walk through the model, so that
right.
as make my life easier pitching this moving forward. But let's walk through this model
Well,
and
yeah, I mean
educate everybody.
the I mean, you know, I've been in this game a while. And you know, back in the day where you know, when the internet was first starting with AOL and all these things,
Hmm.
you had LANs, which were local area networks, and you would Cat5 cabling the entire buildings, and you had servers and routers and
Mm,
switches and all these things. And you know, even then, people were like, "Why will I use email? I can mail somebody a letter." You know, I mean, I've been in this long enough to where building websites for charities, they were like, well, we don't want to take credit cards because people mail us checks.
yes.
And so, so much of anything new, first of all, is a terminology.
Right.
And that's the phase we're going through right now because people hear crypto, Web3, they hear minting, they hear blockchain, they hear NFTs, and immediately they kind of zone out because they're terms you don't know. And so that is the first step, is getting people familiar with what you're doing. Just and you always have to relate it to something people know, right? Because if not, you're going to lose them. And that's the first challenge, is
Yes.
what is the term and how does it relate to now? And the first thing we're doing is we're still funding a charitable project. I mean, that goes back to your American Express or any other an
Sure.
initiative that's been going on. Okay, well, I get that. You got a charity creates a project, and now what? And so this is where things really get interesting. And one of the things on the tech world is simple is very complex, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing something and you're making I'm working on the computer and like, wow, this is really simple. Well, let me guarantee that was very hard to build. I mean, it's normally a very complex back end because it's very hard to make something very simple. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's always the challenge with something new too, because I mean, and even in crypto now, um, you've got the crypto and you've got these exchanges, and how does it work? I mean, the whole process is new and it's kind of clunky because the tech is still new. But as far as what Commit Good is doing, um, we're taking a simple charity project anywhere in the world. Right now, we have 41 charity coordinators around the world that are ready to go to assist with any project we have. But a charity simply, they join the platform, they determine what project they need, and
Mm-hmm.
they determine what volunteers they need for that project. If I'm building a roof, I need people to bring the shingles or to pick up the nails on the ground, or any of carry the wood for the top of the roof, or anything you need. There's always the volunteer aspect. And from being in this charity world for so long, the joke has always been, never volunteer, because if you do, you're always going to be the one they call, right? Because
Right.
they can count on you.
Yes.
And it's always been one of those things that people like, oh, you're doing it for the good of the organization or something you're giving. And no one ever takes that away. Volunteering is a great thing because you do get something back. That's for
Sure.
sure. But our premise was, why couldn't you make it a part of the economy so you would be rewarded for volunteering? And so
Yes.
that's really a major component of what we
Mm-hmm.
do in this economy. Just like you mine Bitcoin, the way you mine good, which is our currency, is by simply volunteering for a project. And the way that
Okay,
we do,
so our
okay, go
token,
ahead.
right? Our currency is called good.
Right. It's called the
So
good token,
the
G O
good
O
token.
D. Right.
EOOD. All right. So now you've got a token that's driving a reward system for volunteers.
Right.
So let's say, for example, that a local community wanted to, a nonprofit, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a nonprofit, does it? Couldn't it be a community organization that's still trying to raise awareness to a good initiative?
Yeah, I mean, we want to, and again, people say 501(c)(3) because you're in the U.S., but when you're all over the world, the terms are different. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, a religious organization, anyone that I guess you would say anyone that's other than a for-profit
Okay.
organization
So
is
let's say
really
we've got
kind
a
of the way
local
you would.
community and they want to put up a playground in the neighborhood, and maybe it's in the back of an abuse center or a halfway house, and so this playground has to go up, and it's going to cost, I'm making this up, $5,000 to put in
Right.
the playground. That's a cheap playground. Maybe ten
That
thousand
would
dollars to put in the
that's like
playground.
that's one set of monkey bars,
Monkey
probably.
bars, right? Okay, so let's use easy numbers. $10,000 we need to raise to put up this playground.
Right.
And
Well,
typically, you would first, in the old model, you would just go to a group and say, hey, we need some contractors that'll step in. Will anybody volunteer to help lay out, the gravel? How would that work?
right. Well, first of all, the charity would register on the platform, and just kind of a quick note here, and we'll jump back on this. Um, we're talking about charities because that's our focus, right?
Mm.
But what we really have become and what we are, what is the engine that drives us, right? Is we're an NFT marketplace, which is,
Sure.
a non-fungible token. I mean, so
Mhm.
you've got these NFTs that really drive it. And what a lot of people say, oh, we're an NFT and we give a percentage to charity, so we're charity NFTs. Now, that I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a marketing gimmick. What a lot of people are doing with that. I mean, our core focus is the charity project itself, right?
Okay, let me
Our
stop for 1 second
okay,
because if, I'm just thinking of people coming in that are still saying, "Oh yeah, I heard the NFT, but I don't know what that is." How I explain it to everybody is that it's a smart contract or an application to use the technology that's nothing more than a smart contract that describes whatever it is that that smart contract holds, similar to the title to a home or the deed to your home or the title to your car. A smart contract, which is typically addressed with some artwork, is the application that we're using to say this is what's involved when you open up this particular project, and that's what we're calling the NFT.
well, yeah, I mean, again, you can get in the weeds technically, um,
Yes.
but basically, I mean, as far as what the world is considering an NFT right now is primarily some type of image.
Image, an image, but
Right,
still that image is representing what's
that
inside.
right, and
Okay.
the term is minting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a business, and let's get back to your playground. I'm a local business, and hey, I want to help that playground being built, on the north side or whatever. And so I would go into Commit Good. I would see that project, and I would go, oh, you know what? I want to create an NFT for this project to help the community and to actually help my business as well. And so what you do is you create an image, and a lot of the NFT world now, if you're not familiar with NFT, you probably have heard of the board apes or the crypto punks, or really it was kind of focused around art. And what makes it an NFT is the minting process. What you do is you mint it to the blockchain, right? So that is being recorded. So the way it would work in Commit Good is you would come in, and one of the interesting things that we do in Commit Good is instead of using an artist to create the image, we use artificial intelligence to create the image. Um, we're working with Open AI, which is basically an AI that we've API that we've put into the platform. And what we say is we allow the NFT creator to really kind of be the creator, but the AI is the paintbrush. So, and it's a really cool process. Once you go in, um, you type in what you want to do, and let's say that it would be, I'm a local carpet cleaning or whatever business you have, and you're doing a playground. You could type in something as crazy as carpet cleaning playground.
Yes.
It creates these really cool images that is, um, for that business owner. And so it creates four images, and you can select which one that you want. And we've made it really a real easy UI, which is a user interface. And again, the back is very complex, but once you type in, hey, cleaning a playground, and you choose your image, and then it says mint to the blockchain. So you click the minting process of it, and then it's created. You can look on the blockchain. We're on Solana, so you can look on SoulScan and say, oh, there's my image. And once it's minted, now it's an NFT. Before it was just some type of JPEG or any other MPNG, some image that was created. Now that it's minted to the blockchain, it's officially an NFT. It is recorded. You can look on SoulScan and go, there it is with the image.
Okay, so
So
under the old world model, maybe a business owner in helping a charity would create some gift cards or some silent auction items, or have their graphic designer create some types of vouchers that they would sell to raise money for the contribution to the charity, or they sell the wrapping paper or the Yankee
right.
candles or the Girl Scout cookies.
Well,
Under the new world, using technology, you can come on and you still use your creative juices here to create imagery that
right.
represents the what your offering is.
Right. And so whenever you're creating, um, before you do the, while you're creating the image, you put your reward in. I mean, every NFT has to have a reward. And one of the things that is now a big buzzword within the industry is it creates utility for the image. Before, if you bought or any type of NFT, it was just based on the user's view of that image. Hey, I like this and I'll pay a certain amount for it, but there was no other feature with that image other than the image, right?
Yes.
So now when if I am a business owner and I create my image and I say, hey, my reward is going to be I'll exclusively clean your house once a month for 12 months for this price, then that is minted with it as well. So all that is encoded in there. So when it comes up now for the user to buy, you see the image and you see the reward and you also put the price. And one of the things most NFTs were determined in this auction type model. And what we wanted to do was give the business owner total control. And so they determine the price of the item, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
and getting back to your smart contract analogy, the way our platform is set up and the way the smart contract works, so the user in our system is called a patron. A patron comes in and they're like, hey, I really want to support the playground. And they see the image they like, they look at the reward for it, and then they buy that NFT. And the all this is priced in good, which is our
Yes.
currency. And so once they buy that item, again, very simple user interface, but what is going on here is once you buy that item, that image goes into the patron's wallet, right?
Hmm.
So when you're on Commit Good, when you're setting up your account, you have to set up your digital wallet. That's the way
Hmm.
everything's working through the
Right.
wallet. So I've bought this NFT and now it goes into my wallet. And another cool feature of what we've done is not only does it go into my digital wallet, it also goes into the user's mobile app. So when you download the Commit Good mobile app, that image is within the mobile app as a QR code. So now when the business shows up, or I go into the business, a restaurant or whatever to redeem it, I just show the QR code and they scan it and now I get whatever I purchased. So we've taken all this far out technology stuff and just kind of brought it into a simple process of going, hey, I bought something. It's on the blockchain and it's ledger, it's in a wallet, and it's also in a QR code here that I can get it. But
I
the way
love
this
this piece. I love this, love this, love this piece.
But and this is where the smart contract comes into play. And again, it comes back to what is the purpose of the NFT marketplace? The purpose of the marketplace is to support the charity. So as soon as I buy that item, 50% of it automatically goes into that charity's wallet. So
Right.
for the sake of it, I've bought 100. I bought an NFT for 100 good. 50 good automatically goes into the charity's wallet. 40 good goes into the NFT creator's wallet. So what we want
Hmm.
this to be is really a new revenue stream for business owners. So now because they determine the price, and businesses need to make money, they need to have margin. So your margin is going to be 40%. So price your item at that where the
Yes,
charity gets 50,
sure.
I've got 40, I've made margin on it, and I've helped support this charity. 2% goes to the charity coordinator. You know, and getting back to people know GoFundMe and all these others, and there's really a very small percentage of all these projects that are fully funded, right? I mean,
Mm,
you hear about the ones that go viral and you make it.
sure.
The rest of them they never meet their goal. And that was another things that people, charities have a lot to do and people put a lot on them, right?
There's so
And
much
so
work.
and so that was one of the things that we wanted to incorporate was a charity coordinator. So now you have someone that is there to help you with your project, right? They're there to help you promote it, to make sure it's funded, to make sure the businesses are creating the NFTs, to anything they can do to help that charity do it. And the other thing the charity coordinator does, because this is what I go through over and over with everyone, for the platform to really be successful, people have to trust it because you hear
Yes,
about the scams and
right.
all the other things that go on. If people know when they're giving to these charity projects are really being built and done, one of the things that the charity coordinator is going to do is follow through and make sure that playground is there. They're going to take pictures of it. They're going to do everything to go so they can show the patrons and the end users, you know what, that playground that you supported, it was really built. And that's kind of easy when you live in a town in the
Yes.
US or anything, but we're doing these all over the world.
All the world,
So,
right.
one of the great things about it is, Stripe Pig can do an NFT for a project in Tanzania. So
Yes,
I could buy an NFT from Stripe Pig and collect it locally, but the funds went to a project in Tanzania. And so the charity coordinator we have in Tanzania is making sure they're collecting all the evidence to show the world, hey, the water well, their home, or whatever it was really done. So
yes.
now that we can see that's accomplished as well, and once people trust the platform, knowing it's being presented and all the evidence is there that it was really built, then it really becomes a very valuable tool.
You really are building a community. So we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary. Last year on 11/11, the Stripe Pig launched the Genesis collection of our first NFT in the spirit space, which was really momentous to take the $1 trillion alcohol industry, spirits industry, to the blockchain by creating this first NFT. And we did it around the first barrel of bourbon ever made in South Carolina and offered that 111 individual times. So with 111 NFTs, everybody representing pretty much one bottle ultimately that would come out of this barrel. But now you're building a whole community around where's the barrel going? How is it aging? What does it look like today? Right. And that's the excitement about taking this platform and now tying that into philanthropy is that
Right,
we can take a barrel, as you mentioned, create a new NFT out of that and have that go out to the masses to say the proceeds from this, yes, are going to go to getting, at what we call an asset based NFT, a product that's actually generating something great. And anything on the Commit Good platform has a unique, as you say, reward or an application or an
right.
offering that's
An
just really
asset or
exciting
utility,
stuff.
right,
Yeah,
right,
stuff you can't get anywhere else. And then that builds an entire community around that project. So
right,
now it's on the platform. I love the third piece about what we're doing, though, which is so unique, is that the volunteers that come to support bringing that project to fruition are also compensated and
right.
rewarded.
Right, which kind of goes back to again, how does everyone, when you sit down and you're trying to mad science everything to make sure it all fits together, um, that was kind of the leading point is how do you reward the volunteers? It's kind of it's one of those behavior mechanisms, right? If you reward good behavior, you get more good behavior. And that was what we wanted was really an army of volunteers of people out there really wanting to help. And I've had it described to me this way, which I really hadn't thought about, but we're kind of doing a little bit of a gig economy based
Hmm.
on doing good deeds.
For sure.
So now instead of being a, an Uber driver or whatever, side hustle you're doing, you could actually go to your favorite charity projects and work those projects to be earning good. And so this is a really cool, and again, when you're building something on a global scale, you have to think of all the ways that people can cheat the system, right?
Yes.
So what we do is the way the when the platform is created, you create your volunteer opportunities. People can log in and see what volunteer opportunities are available, and they click, "Hey, I want to do this opportunity," and the charity agrees, all that type of stuff. But then there is a latitude and longitude for where that project is actually taking place, right? And
Hmm.
so if you're a volunteer, you have to download the app, log in, and what we do is we geolocate, geofence that area, right? So now when the volunteer and you earn good based on time, right? So it's kind of a per hour type situation. And so what you do is once you arrive on scene, um, you click on the app that you're there, and as long as you're geo-fenced in that area, it's recording your time for working. When you're doing projects all over the world, you didn't want to have a situation where people are like, "Yeah, I was there, I volunteered, and we have no way to track it," right? So
Yes.
people are
Right.
just earning free good. Um, so that was the way that we track it is by geofencing the area, knowing that the individual is there actually doing what they said they were going to do is kind of a fail safe of the project. But that's what
You
we
know,
hope.
Clay, every time I think about this, I get chills because why would you want to do it any other way? It is such, as a philanthropic person my whole life, it is such hard work to organize a group of people who are typically volunteers. They are not skilled event planners, but they're thrust into following a program for usually a once a year an annual gala black tie affair where everybody pays a couple $100 in the name of charity, right, to go to an event and get out of the car, go to the bar, have an open bar, have a good time, come together through fellowship. But you lose the opportunity for all the people that couldn't make it that night, for all the extended families that might have wanted to contribute. And it's just such a small scale resource. Here we could open it up to the entire world, put their project into the hearts of everybody, and you never know what's going to resonate with somebody because of what we're people, what we're all going through.
Right,
And then the business owner makes out because of the sale of that NFT that they created. The consumer makes out because they're getting a unique asset and not just an opportunity to go. Although I love going to the galas, but
right,
not just a one night out. And they can scour through what are their needs too, and their needs are getting met as well. And then the volunteers are getting rewarded with good token. And as our platform continues to grow and replaces or enhances the old traditional fundraising model, the good token is going to rise in value.
right,
So they are packeting their reward points just for doing good anyway, right? For doing good volunteering, they're putting good token in their crypto wallets. And we together as a community are driving the value of the
right.
good token.
Well, and again, whether you call it an ecosystem or an economy, um, when people again, you're not just buying the NFT artwork, you're actually getting an asset
An
as
asset.
far as
Yeah.
whatever that it's a good or a service, right? Whatever is
Yes.
being offered. So not only are you supporting this charity, um, you're getting whatever you want, and what we really want to encourage the business owners to offer something unique and different. We don't want the 10% discount. I mean, we want something really neat and NFT worthy.
Yes.
But on top of that, by buying these, you're supporting the ecosystem to fund the volunteer piece. I mean, that's the bigger portion of what's going on here is those purchases are really help fund the NFT volunteer. I mean, excuse me, the volunteers for the charity projects that are going in to make everything happen. because I mean anybody that's been in the charity long enough is you're searching for volunteers. Who's going to help me? I got to get
Yes.
this done. I got to raise money, and that goes back to really, not to understate the charity coordinator piece of knowing, hey, I've got somebody helping me to push this through. And not only the charity coordinator in the US, you can kind of check on charities, but the charity coordinator is really important for us because they're vetting these charities all over the world. There's no way you can research and know. I mean, we go through a strong vetting process on the charity
Hmm.
coordinator side. These are all people that have been in the charity world for a long time. Um, but it's a lot of work for you to find a good charity in Zimbabwe, right? But
Yes.
we're taking that part out of it because we have the charity coordinator that is vetting and making sure these charities are legitimate charities,
Yeah.
and on
Sure.
top of that, helping them the project come to fruition. So if you take every angle of it, top to bottom, we've
Yes.
analyzed every piece of it from
I love it. And it
the
takes out the waste and the mismanagement, like you said, of the particular charities that, you make volunteers and then you look at some of the budgets and what monies actually went back to the local causes. And they're so few and far, between. There's so much mismanagement. Here, you've got a project, a charity, and the volunteers. It's like, it's
well,
simple. It's just using
and,
our technology to now drive.
and you know what? And this comes back to the whole thing. um, the immutable ledger, which is really a digital ledger you can't tweak or adjust. That's all the blockchain is, right? Is this
Right.
ledger. So whenever you have this project from the minting the NFT to the smart contract of how the funds are distributed per the NFT, all this stuff is on a digital ledger that you can go in, log in, and look it up and see it. I mean, so a lot of the abuse or mismanagement is not so much the fault of the people, it is the system
The
itself,
systems.
right?
Yes.
I
Yep.
mean, it's kind of like, hey, it takes me a long time in a horse and buggy. Well, it's not the horse and buggy's fault. That's all they can do. But if I'm in a
Yes.
car, I can get there a lot faster with air conditioner and all these other things. That's what we've got to start people going is, hey, it's time to upgrade to a better system.
It's definitely, like you said before, evolving. We have transparency, accountability, and now we have measurable impact because we're using technology to drive the whole process.
Right.
So I'm so excited on the first few NFTs that are coming out under Commit Good.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, we've got our first project lined up. It's going to be the Nick Price Foundation, which is really supporting brain cancer. And we're looking to launch that later this month, 1st of December. After that, we have a reentry from prison, which they do a lot of job training and skills to get people back into the workforce. And what we're looking at late January is really going with these 41 charity coordinators we have around the world and immediately being a global organization, 3 months into really launch. And I think,
Absolutely.
and what's so great about it is um, whether we're in Charleston, South Carolina, or Johannesburg, South Africa, or Tokyo, Japan, wherever, the process is the same. I'm still
Yes.
looking at the same blockchain. I'm downloading the mobile app. The business owner is still scanning that QR code. I mean, it is a scalable global platform today, which
And the offerings.
with the current fiat currency, I'd have to be dealing with, um, you know, ruples and yen and all these other kind of currencies that makes it so complex to where, and you can't build a true community. You can't build that ecosystem where all pieces of it are supporting everything. And that is what this new technology really allows is to scale but to keep everything within that ecosystem. So it's really feeding and helping grow the entire platform.
And you
all
get these one of a kind, unique VIP offerings and experiences from all over the world.
right,
Just,
right.
amazing the things that you can be a part of.
Right, and that's what we hope too is, eh, you know, everyone is just so the business owners are tired of being hounded for giving. I mean, every year the UN has these new goals they're trying to reach. 2020, now 2030, now 2050. I mean, it just goes on and on, and all these problems with hunger. I mean, these are all things
Yes.
that are really equations, right? How many
Yes.
people do you
Yes.
have? How much food do you need? I
Right.
mean, so hopefully, just like you mentioned, we're building a playground for $1,000. Hopefully, we're building, um, you know, whole communities. That one home that we built in Botswana, outside of Gabron.
Yes.
What they really do in these really poor areas, that area, which was 100 miles outside of Gabron, they send the elderly widows and orphans out there really to die.
Mm-hmm.
So what we hope is, you can start with a small playground today, but next thing you know, you're building
Oh,
housing
mu-
for a
houses,
million people or
municipalities,
what. I
it's going
mean,
to be great.
there's no, because it's all projects,
Yes,
right?
I was going to say, we're not doing donations. We're creating collaborations.
Right.
Everybody wins. The business
It,
owner
it,
wins, the charity project wins, and the volunteer wins. And
right.
that's why this is just so beautiful.
Again, it goes back to the idea, how do I create a charitable economy where the purpose of the economy is first to help people, right? It's kind of a different mindset. Our economy now is really to fund wars and
Yes.
all these other things that are going on. Why not say, hey, let's build an economy that helps people first? And
Yes.
in turn, everyone wins, from the business owner to the charity coordinator to the volunteer to the person that actually got something for giving. It's kind of like, hey, I spent my tax dollars, but what did I really get out of it? Now I
Yes.
can I
And I
can
believe
fund projects.
exactly the projects and the products that are going to be the leaders moving forward are going to come from the people collaborating to be the leaders of our new communities in commerce. So
Right,
I am so excited about all this. Here's the thing, Clay. Like 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to look back and this is just going to be commonplace. Like we're having to explain it, just like we had to explain Venmo at one point, right? Or Cash
right,
App, or taking a picture of your check with your phone and it's automatically deposited into your checkbook, and people were terrified that this was not safe. Now you
right,
hardly go to a bank.
right,
So this is what's going to happen over the next couple of years with Commit Good, and people can go to commitgood.com to get more information, but we'll start having this visibility because it makes sense. So as you said, we will launch, and within 3 months we'll have major organizations on board saying, how do we utilize these technologies to unite our volunteers with our business owners and the consumer, and create projects that bring an entire global economy together.
right.
So thank you so much for having this on your heart to create it and working so long to perfect the technology and the softwares to make this happen. And thank you so much for honoring me to have me be part of this
Uh,
company. I am so delighted.
well, we're
And I
glad
look
to have you, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
again, episode 18, Commit Good, another one to go down in the history books. And we will put up all the social for everybody that wants to get involved. But I have a feeling this is going to be very well received. So thank you, everybody, for listening to Spiritually Speaking with Pixie Paula. And we will see you again next week.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radical, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.